Video games. Some are masterpieces, while others aren't. But sometimes whether a game is good or not is completely in the eyes of the beholder, like with Zelda 2, Majora's Mask, Super Paper Mario, Super Mario Bros. 2, Castlevania 2, and more. All of these games have been criticized by a large number of people for a long time, but still have a huge following of fans who love them to death. Sometimes it's really subjective whether a game is good or not. Some people might view a certain game as better or worse because of their skill level, their personal experiences with it, and what games they've played before it. All of these factors greatly impact a person's opinion of a certain game, and I think there's no better example than with the new Super Mario Bros. Games. When the original came out in 2006, a lot of people liked it. New Super Mario Bros. Wii had a lot more criticism, but by the time New Super Mario Bros. U and 2 came out, everyone felt pretty meh about the series, mostly because of two factors. The games are too easy and are too incredibly similar to each other and feel a bit generic. Compared to the likes of Mario 3 and World, these titles might not be nearly as fun of an experience. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is the most negatively acclaimed game of the bunch, and while I definitely think it has some major valid flaws, I feel like calling it a bad game is a bit unfair. The main thing people don't like about it is, again, it being so similar to the others. But how would someone who never played a Mario game and played this as their first game think about it? So let's do just that today. Try to forget about any other Mario game and take a look at New Super Mario Bros. 2 from a different angle. First, let's talk about the main gimmick. Coins, coins, and more coins. Coins are everywhere in the levels, and coin blocks, and roulette blocks. There are these gold rings which turn enemies into gold, which creates even more coins. There's also these coin blocks hats which Mario can wear, giving him an extra hit, and whenever he moves, he gains even more coins. Coins also seem to be much more common just out in the open compared to other Mario games, so in short, it's hard not to collect a huge amount of them. Like in any other Mario game, when you collect 100 coins, you get an extra life. So as you can tell, your life counter by the end of the adventure is gonna be super high, typically in the hundreds, which is super nice for tough levels, meaning if you suck, you can have to grind for lives. On the flip side though, this makes the game way too easy, which is only made worse by the simple level design with easy jumps, predictable hazards, and a lack of challenging enemies. Now, I suck at video games, I'll tell you, like a lot, so me saying this game is too easy is saying something. A game being too easy though isn't nearly as bad as a game being too hard, at least since it opens it up to a wider audience, especially kids who suck at 2D Mario like I was when I was a kid. Some of the levels in the special worlds of the game also had some level of challenge, but it's not enough to make the game challenging enough to engage 2D Mario veterans. Overall, the whole coin gimmick is only partially implemented correctly. Collecting coins does feel really good. Even if I have like 100 lives, I still try to get as many as I can. It's sort of like in Luigi's Mansion, where I always try to get as much money as possible, even though all it does is give you a higher ranking at the end of the game. At the end of each level, all the coins you got enter into this coin total, which counts every one you've collected in all 3 files. Now, there are rewards for getting a lot, such as this gold Mario statue on the title screen, but that's frankly not nearly enough. Maybe if there's some kind of shop to buy power-ups or even figurines or something, this would solve the whole mechanic, or maybe if they boosted the number of coins you need to get an extra life from 100 to 200 or 300, it might work out better, but I still think it works out well enough to be a fun mechanic that can be fun, although with some flaws. Now on to some positives. Firstly, the graphics are pretty nice to look at least on an actual 3DS screen, because captured footage never looks as good as the original. Moving on to the gameplay, just like the other New Super Mario Bros. Like the old 2D games, but with some modern moves, such as the wall jump or ground pound. It's not at all glitchy or buggy, the controls are fluent, and the hit detection is excellent. In terms of sound, it's kinda meh, mostly because most of its songs are either remixes or straight up the actual track from past installments, which only further adds to people to pass it up for being too similar to the others. Which it is. The world bosses are Koopalings, the environments are all the same, there aren't really that many new level mechanics. One thing that helps make up for it are the power-ups. You've got the standard classics like the Mushroom, Fireflower, and Star, as well as some power-ups that haven't been in the series for quite a while. The Super Leaf is back and works almost exactly like it did in Mario 3, which is great because it's my favorite Mario power-up of all time up there for Cape Feather. Unfortunately, the impact of bringing back the Super Leaf was diminished from it being in 3D Land of a year before, and then it got added to U and 3D World, taking away the specialness of it. The Mega Mushroom was brought back as well, and although it's only in a few levels, it's fun to use. It's so satisfying to destroy blocks and enemies with ease, and since it's not overused throughout the levels, getting one never feels old or boring. The Mini Mushroom was also brought back, and I hate it, as was the Invincibility Leaf, which takes away any amount of challenge that was left. Many people have ranted about the Invincibility Leaf, and I hate it too. Only one brand new power-up was added to the game, the Gold Flower. Anything it touches instantly dies and turns into coins. Enemies, blocks, it's just like the Mega Mushroom, only you shoot with it, everything turns into coins, and it lasts for a whole level. To compensate for their OP-ness, they are rare, so whenever you get one, it's a treat. It is too bad though that there aren't any other power-ups in the game. For the most part, the only ones you get to use are the Fireflower and Super Leaf. I wish some others could have been added, like the Blue Shell, the Penguin Suit, Propeller Mushroom, or Hammer Suit, but there wasn't enough time to program any others since this game was on a strict deadline. Nonetheless, I feel like the power-ups in this game work out for the most part. One thing I feel like this game does really well is how it handles star coins. Each level has 3 of them, and they work like they did in the original rather than they did in Wii or U. On the world map, many areas are blocked off and can only be opened with a certain amount of star coins. A few of these paths lead to new levels, however, a large number of the paths lead to toad houses and 1-up houses, so you don't need to collect every single star coin to play all the levels, but it still feels rewarding for 100%ers to get all of them. One pattern I've noticed though is how many hidden pathways there are in levels, not just in ghost houses, but in many normal looking levels. Some lead to extra stages, others lead to skips, and others lead to new hidden lands, which are both kind of cool and lame. You see, there are only 6 worlds in this game instead of 8, but there are 3 special ones to make up the difference. World Mushroom, Flower, and Star. Each of them have a variety of stage themes and extra content. The problem isn't them themselves though, it's unlocking them. World Mushroom is the easiest to unlock, just find a pretty easy to find secret route in the first fort. World Flower, on the other hand, is a bit trickier to enter. The first option is to enter the World 3 fort as Mini Mario, not take any damage from anything or else you die, enter this tiny pipe, and then make it through more obstacles without dying. Thankfully, since you don't have to be Mini for anything else after this, you can swap it out with a different power-up, and then reach the secret flag at the end. Your second option is to find a secret exit in the Mushroom World Ghost House, beat it, beat the level after it, and then it unlocks another secret cannon. Speaking of which, I really hate these cannons. It could be simple enough, just like all the other games, but no, they decided it'd be a good idea to slap a mini level in with no power-ups, where you have to constantly move without stopping. Your jumps have to be really good or else you fall. Thankfully, they are really short, and on the plus side, these worlds can be used as alternatives to the main ones. If you beat Mushroom World, you can skip 2, and if you beat Flower World, you can skip 4, so that's pretty cool. Alright, now before we talk about World Star, how about we take a look at the final boss? World 6 is a lava-themed one, just like every other final area in a 2D Mario game, or even some 3D ones. These levels are a slight bit more difficult than most of the others we've seen so far. They're still pretty easy, but there's enough challenge to engage you and put you on your toes from time to time. Bowser's castle itself is really long with a lot of stuff to get past. The most iconic part of this level is when all the Koopalings group together in their clown car and shoot beam-like things at the players. You have to hide in front of these walls while they do their attack and then keep moving forward afterwards. Bowser himself starts off not too different than he did in Wii. Just dodge his projectiles, and when he jumps, jump under him and press that switch. And I know literally everyone has already said this, but I have to ask, why was there even a switch there in the first place? I mean, Bowser really needs to get some decent planners for his castles. You've cost him like 99% of his plans. In any case, it's only the beginning, for the Koopalings revive him from death with their magic, and he becomes a giant. Yeah, like we already haven't seen that before. The best thing though is how that epic music from New Super Mario Bros. Wii was brought back. I love it so much, it's so epic. The fight isn't so much as a fight as it is a stage. The goal is to not fall in the lava by jumping on ascending platforms. When Bowser's eyes glow, jump to another platform before his hand smashes them. And watch out for his fire breath and fireballs along the way. The battle is awesome, I have to admit. Dare I say, it's just as good, or maybe even better in a few ways than the one in Wii. Sure, it's not as epic or challenging, but Bowser just feels so much more intimidating, powerful, and threatening, being so close and in control. In terms of difficulty, it is fairly easy, just like the rest of the game. Although, I do admit I did die a few times during this. After a good while, you reach a switch at the top that somehow defeats him and Princess Peach is rescued. The credits then play, with coins flying everywhere for the player to collect, while Bowser and his Koopalings have a hard time. But this isn't the end yet, because after beating the main game, you unlock the entrance to Star World. You'll need 90 star coins to enter it, so I wouldn't recommend wasting them on these routes to Toad houses or 1-up houses. I was pretty casual about getting star coins though during my playthrough, but only used them a few times to open the levels. I only used them to open secret levels, not really the Toad houses. And I still needed about 6 more by the time I got there, but you really don't need that much. I mean, how many levels are there up to this point? So if you collect, I guess 1, maybe 2 in each level, you'll be good. So yeah, and it has some of the most fun stages in the whole game. But yeah, it's quite a few cool gimmicks, they're slightly more challenging, and they visually look cool. One thing I also have to give this game is how you don't have to have every star coin to access Star World, or at least each level in Star World. That is so nice because, I mean, in Wii that was pretty annoying that you had to do that. My favorite level in the world has got to be this one. It's like a ghost house, but you have these swamps and then you have water, and I just like it. I don't know why, but I do. The final level is much like Bowser's Castle, only more difficult. The Koopalings try to shoot you down again, but there are way less spots to hide this time, and his obstacles can be pretty annoying. At the end, instead of Bowser, it's Dry Bowser, who behaves almost exactly like his living counterpart. The second phase of the fight is the only part of the game that has ever given me trouble over the years. Dry Bowser moves much faster, the platforms fall faster, and there seems to be less of them, as well as them being smaller. And as embarrassing as this is to say, I actually never legitimately beat this boss until now. Well, I mean, unless you count using the invincibility leaf, but I finally managed to win this fight. And surprisingly, I did it on my first try, which doesn't make any sense at all since it took like 3 to 4 tries to win against regular Bowser, but I'll take it. Other than that, there's not really much else to talk about. There's a co-op mode which I can't show or play or state my opinion of since it takes 2 copies of the game to play, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty fun. Lastly, we have Coin Rush, which is basically a challenge mode where you play a series of normal levels from the game while collecting as many coins as possible under a time limit. The most shocking thing about this is that there are actually DLC packs for it. Yeah, DLC for a 2D Mario game. I do feel like these packs are a little pricey though, and I didn't buy any for this video, but I probably should since the eShop is closing down in around a month from now. Maybe I'll make a video about the co-op and DLC if I ever get the chance. I do hear good things about these packs though, people saying that they can be a lot of fun, so yeah, I might check them out sometime and make some videos. If you guys want, I can. To sum things up, New Super Mario Bros. 2 was a game that came out at a bad time. It just couldn't stand out from the rest. There is fun to be had playing it, and if you're interested, I recommend picking it up. Some might say it feels soulless or kiddish for being too easy. Even so, I enjoyed it. I remember playing it for the first time when I was about 14, and I hadn't quite gotten used to 2D Mario games yet, and I was pleasantly surprised at how easy it was. It let me get used to 2D Mario mechanics. It made me want to go back and play past titles like World, so I have a lot to thank New Super Mario Bros. 2 for. Well, with that, I hope you all liked this video. And, if you're new, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and like the video. And regardless though, I hope everyone watching this has a good rest of their day, and I'll see you all next time.